Okay, now children, today I'm going to start with this new poem, Animals of Your First Flight, right? From the poetry section, and I'm going to explain it to you, the poem Animals. Now, before I start with the poem, what do we understand by animals? Aditya Chaudhary, I want you to reply back to my questions. See, there are some differences, but still we find some similarities between humans and animals. So, what are the major similarities we find between animals and humans?
I'm like we have all our digestive system, the all senses.
Okay. Uh, just like we eat, drink, we have various body organs, just like we do locomotion, respiration, animals also do all these things, right? So they are also living creatures. That is a major similarity we say. I would be coming to one major point which you have missed out, that animals also feel. They also they also respond back to the love and affection when given to them. To a certain extent, at many times, you will find that animals are far better than humans because they are far away from the vices such as jealousy, hatred, right? They are far, far away from all these. They do not understand these vices. But yes, the most common example here is of a dog. Many of you must be having dogs as pet at home. If you love the dog will definitely respond you back. It will show that love and loyalty towards the master, right? So this is one of the common characteristic of all the animals, right? So this is a poem where we are talking about where there's a contrast between animals and humans. To begin with, I am just reading about the poet, and then we'll continue with the text. Okay, about the poet. Darshita,
Yes, ma'am.
please read about the poet.
Okay, ma'am. Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892, is a major figure in early American poetry. He broke the tradition of rhymed and metrical poetry. He was famous for writing a revolutionary new kind of poetry which was in free verse. The poem Animals is from his work Song. Ma'am, please share the screen.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Please continue.
The poem Animals is from his work Song of Myself in Leaves of Grass.
Continue, please.
Walt Whitman has shown the comparison between human beings and animals in his poem. He has pointed out the evils present inside the human brain, which he thinks animals don't have. That is why he thinks that animals are much better than human beings. In the poem Animals, the poet has
Wait. Okay, that is what I told you. The poem is written by Walt Whitman. Now, Walt Whitman, who is known as a great poet, is a major figure in American poetry. He broke the tradition of that metrical and rhyming poetry. He expressed himself in a different way. And his way of writing was very revolutionary in the field of poetry. And it was free verse, means he didn't follow any pattern. The poem Animals is one of his work from Song of Myself in the Leaf of Grass. Now, as I have already given you the introduction of the lesson, that the poem shows a sharp contrast between humans and animals, where the poet straight away tells he feels that if compared humans, and if there's a comparison between humans and animals are far, far better than humans because the evils present inside the human brain, animals are devoid of such evils, right? They do not have any vices, whether it is hatred, whether it is jealousy, whether it is wrong intentions. or putting anybody, letting anybody down. All these things, they are in human brain, right? Animals are devoid of all such vices. So that is why the poet feels that animals are better than human beings. Okay, I'm coming to the poem part and explanation. Uh, Darshika, please read out the lines so that I can give the explanation, and then you can read the explanation later on.
I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long.
Okay, here I refers to the poet, right? So poet says, I think I could turn and live with animals. The poet says, turn and live with animals here means that, as we all know, that we humans, right, we originated from apes. The origin of human beings earlier was not in this form, in what form which we are today. Man was a monkey or an ape in the ancient era, in the ancient period. Gradually, over the years, there were various transformations, and then finally, from ape, he became a man. Right? So here the poet says, I think I could turn and live with animals. He wants to turn back to that history part, and he says that I could turn and live with animals where man himself was a nomad or he himself was an ape. They're so placid and self-contained. Even when the man was a nomad and he was living in the forest, wandering in the forest, right? He was living along with other animals, other creatures, other living creatures, right? He says they are so placid. They refers here to the animals. They are so placid. Placid means they are calm, they are peaceful, which we humans are not at all. We have so many struggles, so many clashes going on in our mind, taking up, setting up targets every time, doing something. Then at times we feel sorry for what we have done. So we have something, so many things going on in our head. But these animals, they're very calm, they're very peaceful, and they're away from all the disturbances, and self-contained. Please, you can write down the meanings of these words so that you do not forget it afterwards. These animals are so placid, means they are so calm and peaceful, and they are self-contained, means they keep up control, right? They are under some control. They do not become aggressive. They do not show that anger, ferocity, or aggression like humans. They are still controlled. I stand and look at them long and long. So the poet says that these animals are self-contained, means they are happy with their life and they never interfere in anybody else's life, right? So humans have the habit of interfering in the lives of others. So the poet feels that I stand and look at them long and long. So poet thinks that animals are better than humans, so he stands and gives a glance at them. He appreciates. He in his heart appreciates their life and the life the animals lead, because it is devoid of any kind of vices. Okay, I have given the summary. I hope it is clear. Moving on, Darshika, please read out the explanation also.
The poet says that he wants to live in the world of animals. Here we can say that the poet finds the world of animals better than that of human beings. He further says that he finds animals more peaceful than humans. He says so because animals are not running after worldly things like human beings. They are calm and have no greed for worldly things or any kind of achievement. They are self-contained, means they are happy with life and never interfere in the lives of others. Humans have the habit of interfering in the lives of others. So poet thinks that animals are better than humans for being calm and not interfering in the matters of others. The poet further says that these are the reasons why he stands still and looks at the animals for a very long time.
Okay. I have already explained you this stanza. So let's continue. Darshika, please read out the second stanza.
They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented. with the mania of owning things.
Okay. Now, they do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not sweat, right? Means they are not tired. They do not sweat and they whine about their condition. They do not cry or they do not complain about their condition, about their circumstances. Just as very often humans do that, right? They do not lie awake in the dark and deep for their sins. When humans do something wrong, right, they suffer it. They have sleepless nights, and because of that regret, they weep for their sins. The sins which they had committed, they weep for that in a regretful manner, right? So all these sufferings are there for humans, but animals, they do not have to suffer all that. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Generally, humans, they often, you might find many of the people narrating your duties to God. The poet says, none of the animals make me sick by narrating their duties to God. Not one is dissatisfied and not one is demented with the mania of owning things. So he says that I do not find even a single animal which is dissatisfied. We people, we humans often complain about dissatisfactions in our life, whether it is related to possessions, whether it is related to achievements, failures, or relationships. We often express that dissatisfaction, but animals do not. And again, he says there is nobody, none of the animals that is demented. Demented one's word means disturbed, right? There is no animal who is disturbed or who is upset with the mania of owning things, right? We all suffer from that, of mania of owning things, of possessions, which we say, right? Generally, there's a competition. At times, unsaid competition goes on between cousins, between amongst our friends or relatives or neighbors. There is an unsaid competition. Oh, he has a big car. I have a smaller car. I also want a big car. Oh, he has purchased a new iPhone. I have mine was is not new. This model is old now, so I'm looking for a new one. So there isn't that unsaid competition is always there. What you possess, what your friend possess, or what you possess, and what your neighbors possess or what your relatives possess, right? So there is an unsaid competition. So, but in animals, there is no such competition. They're not suffering from this mania of owning things. None of the animals is disturbed. We basically, this mania of possessing things that somewhere disturbs you, that interrupts in your peaceful life, that creates panic in your peaceful life. But animals do not suffer from any kind of this disturbance, right? I hope the stanza is clear. Darshika, please read out the explanation here.
The poet says that unlike humans, animals don't complain of any misery.
Darshika, please speak a little louder. Your voice is not very clear.
They never cry out loud like humans do to show what they have lost. They never stay awake in the night crying in repentance for their wrongdoings. This means that animals are different from human beings because they don't show anger or grief if something wrong happens with them. He further says that animals are very truthful because they never boast of their good deeds done in the name of God. He says so because most of the human beings do this. They try to show their good deeds and religiousness to others. They do so in order to gain popularity among their fellows, so the poet thinks that animals never irritate him.
Okay. So they are happy with whatever they have. They never run beyond worldly things. They never try to possess things to comfort or luxury. He says that none of them is mad behind owning the worldly things. Am I clear with this portion? Aditya, is the things clear? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's continue further. Darshita, please read it.
Ma'am, Dashita got disconnected.
She got disconnected. Aditya, you can continue reading. Even this stanza, I think she has not completed. So you can continue with the half of the stanza,
So the poet thinks that
right?
animal never irritate him by doing such thing just to gain some praise for their fellow people. He feels that the animal are not dissatisfied humans. They stay happy with whatever they have. They never run behind worldly things. They never try to possess things of comfort or luxury. He says that none of them is mad behind owning the worldly things.
Okay. This explanation I have already given it to you. Just I'll take a small. I'll wait for a second here, please. Let me allow. Dakshita, now your connection is stable, I believe. Can we continue? Aditya, I think you can continue because there is some problem from our side.
Not one kneels
Not one kneels to another. Please
Not
continue.
one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself, evince me, oh, they evince them plainly in their possession.
Not one kneels to another, not to his kind that. Kneels is bending down in front of somebody, bowing down, right? At times, because of power, when we find that the person in front of us is more powerful, we have to bend in front of him, right? But in animals, nobody is stronger and nobody is weak. All are equal. Nobody bends in front of anybody. So no one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived of years ago. Neither to any leader. Here the poet says that animals never bend in front of anybody, right? They never do so for their ancestors also. For the like of their kinds which were there thousands of years ago, that means about their ancestors. So they never bent in front of anybody or even their ancestors. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. And it is not that somebody is very respectable and the other might be very unhappy, which happens in the human society. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. He says that they show their relations to me. Here, relations here refers to the affection, right? He says that they show their affection towards me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. Events here is show, reveal. They bring me tokens of myself. This statement, this line is very important. He says that they never give more or less importance to any other animal, and everyone in the animal world is happy. They're not like human beings who find themselves the happiest or saddest or the most respectful one. Everybody is equal. Further, the poet also says that animals are more honest in showing their relations with other animals. He said that animals use other animals as their food and they never try to hide this, right? They evince them plainly in their possession, means they reveal it clearly that they eat. The carnivores animals eat other animals, flesh eaters. So they eat other animals, but that is not hidden. Just like humans, it won't be that at the forefront they are very soft and at your back they'll be stabbing. With animals, it's very clear. If a lion eats deer, at the forefront, the lion will not be soft with the deer. It's very clear that lion eats deer, right? So human beings show that they have nice and friendly relations with others, though the reality is opposite. At the back, they might be, uh, somehow cheating the person. They might be deceiving the person. They might be backstabbing the person. But that's not true with animals. He accepts the fact that animals are true towards showing their relationship with other animals. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession, means they show themselves plainly in their possession, in their ownership of something. Here it is referred to as carnivores animals who eat other animals. So they clearly show it to them that they eat them, right? So at the forefront, they are not soft with anybody, with the animals whom they eat, right? Aditya, please read out this stanza.
Here the poet says that he has never seen any animal showing his devotion to anyone by bowing down in front of the person. They never do so even for their ancestors. They do not show devotion towards God like humans do. No one among them is more respectable or important as we have in human society. In human beings, rich people are generally given more importance and are treated with more respect as compared to the poor. But in the society, they never give more or less importance to any other animal. Everyone in the animal world is happy. Happiest or the saddest person on earth. Further, the poet says that animals are more honest in showing their relations with other animals. Here, he wants to say that animals use other animals as their food and they never try to hide this. Human beings show that they have nice and friendly relations with others, though the reality is opposite. The poet says that he accepts the fact that animals are true towards showing their relation with other animals.
Right. So I have given you the explanation of this. The poet says that he accepts the fact that animals are far better than humans because they are truthful, they show what they are, right? And they show their relation, they show their affection if they are true to somebody, and if they are not friendly to somebody, that also that is completely revealed, that is not hidden. So by all means, the poet finds that he should turn to animals because animals are much better than humans because they are not having any vices which humans are having, right? So with this, I finish off this poetry. um we have some more. No, okay. Yes, some part is still left. I'll be continuing with this poem tomorrow, and I'll be doing the RTCs also on Monday, right?